So it is reported that Saquon Barkley will be sitting out the final game of the regular season, meaning he won't get the opportunity to break Eric Dickerson's rushing record. Now, there's a lot of different perspectives on this situation, so let's get into it. First, I want to start with Nick Sirianni. Now, I'm not going to lie, I'm not a big fan of him, but he's kind of in a tough position with Barkley and whether or not he should sit him or he should allow him to get the record. So I definitely don't envy the position he's in right now. I know pretty much every fan, Eagle fan, NFL fan, probably wants to see him break the record or at least try to. But if you really think about it, from Sirianni's point of view, he was on the hot seat a year ago, kind of a shaky start to this year. If the Eagles are a one-and-done team again in the playoffs, that seat is going to warm up within the blink of an eye. And, it's probably going to take a lot of attempts to get the record. I feel like the Giants would be playing pretty hard. Of course, they got a win a week ago, so team morale is definitely up there with the Giants right now, and I feel like Brian Daboll would fire them up to not let Barkley get the record on them. So I think if hypothetically he were to attempt, I have a feeling it would probably take 20 attempts, and 20 touches for an RB, that's not nothing. I'd say that's kind of a lot. And considering the Eagles don't have a bye week in the first round of the playoffs is kind of a big deal, because if they were the first seed, of course, you let Saquon Barkley have the opportunity to break this all-time in-season rushing record. But they don't have a bye, and they need to get a dub in the wild card round. I really don't think Sirianni can afford to be a one-and-done team again back-to-back years. And as the playoff picture stands right now, the Green Bay Packers are slated to come into town. Now, these two matched up in week 1, and it was a very close, funky game down in Brazil. And say what you want about the Packers right now, I feel like a lot of kind of people are slowly jumping off the bandwagon, but I still think this is a very, very dangerous team. No pushover at all. And if the playoff picture stays the same and the Packers come into town rather than the Commanders, I feel like that's definitely a harder game for the Eagles. Absolutely. I feel like if they matched up against Washington, I really think that Eagles defense would be able to handle Jaden Daniels right now. That second game they played was incredibly fluky with Kenny Pickett and Jalen Hurts going out and Washington overcoming 5 turnovers. Like, come on, let's be honest. If Jalen Hurts never left that game, the Eagles probably would have won by 3 touchdowns at least. Or if Devontae Smith would have caught that ball at the end of the game, the Eagles would have won that game. So Washington's very fortunate to split the season series with the Eagles. And I feel like if the Eagles hosted them, I feel like they would be very vengeful. And I feel like it would be not an easy game, but a very convincing win for Philadelphia. But I feel like Green Bay is a different animal. And Jordan Love is just a dangerous dude. He's just a dangerous dude. We saw it last year, and I feel like we might see it again. So you let me know if you agree with me. If you were the Eagles, if you're an Eagle fan, would you rather play the Commanders in round 1 or the Packers? You let me know in the comments below. Now, from Saquon's perspective, he definitely wanted to break the record. He had this quote to say: "When I slept on it, I was like, this is an opportunity to implement my name in football history. You may never get an opportunity like that again, so I'm down. But I don't care if I'm putting the team at risk. He's the head coach for the reason. He makes the decisions and whatever decision he wanted to make." Now, based off of that quote, Saquon obviously wanted to break the rushing record, but Sirianni really had the final say on whether or not he was going to rest the final week of the season. I don't know, man. It's definitely tricky. I feel like if the Eagles didn't have Saquon Barkley, this year, they would just be kind of a similar team to what they were a year ago. I know that defense is significantly better, but Saquon just adds a different element to this team. He sets the tone, and he is their offense. He is their offense. And he's been in the MVP consideration for the large part of this year as well. I don't know. I feel like you kind of owe it to him to let him make the choice for himself just because of how much he's helped the Eagles this season. I can guarantee you if Saquon Barkley wasn't on the Eagles this year, they would not be the number 2 seed. They would not have as good as a record as they do right now without Saquon. I'm very confident in that statement. But yeah, I mean, it's easy for me to say, but that's the thing. When it comes to this sort of stuff, there's a lot of politics involved. I'm sure the owner and the GM also had some private conversations with Sirianni as well. And I just don't think it's all completely Sirianni. So if you're kind of hating him right now, I feel like it's kind of like a collective team kind of idea to sit Saquon Barkley. And, hypothetically, if I was the head coach of the Eagles and I truly had the final say, I'd be like, okay, 10 to 15 touches max, but that's it. That's it. If you can't get it on 10 to 15 touches, then I'm pulling you. And of course, I'm sure there would probably be a situation where he gets to 10 to 15 touches and he's only 40 yards away, and then everyone on the sideline kind of gets fired up. And that's why I don't blame Sirianni for benching Barkley, because no matter what, in the heat of the moment, if he was 20 yards away, 40 yards away, if he had 20 touches, if he had 25 touches, they would keep feeding him until he got it. And, like I mentioned earlier, 20 touches, 25 touches, that's a lot for an RB, and they need to win next week at home in the wild card round. So even though I don't like Sirianni, I gotta give him some credit to a certain extent, because overall it is the smart thing to do. Whether or not you agree or disagree, let me know in the comments below. It would have been cool to see Saquon break the record, but I'm sure we will see someone else do it at some point, especially with the NFL more than likely going to expand the regular season by another week. So we'll see it at one point or another. And yeah, man, let me know what you think. If you made this far, please subscribe and like the vid. It'd help out your boy a ton. That's all I got for right now. Peace.
The Jets offense comes back onto the field. Let's see if they can move the chains this time, because the last possession was ugly. They weren't out there very long.
Jim, you know how I think in situations like this, I think it's more up to the coach than the players. Call a play that really catches the defense off guard so you can get an easy gain and get the momentum on your side and get it rolling.
2nd and 9. Look at that concentration as he makes the grab. Mark him down for another reception.
The Jets, that time, they can't get big yards, but the throw and catch picks up a few, and his 3rd down's much easier with this situation.
Out of the shotgun, Jeremy Curley with the catch. Gains about 3.
Good job by the offense picking up a 1st down there. They've been terrific all day long. They're winning the football game, and they are tiring this defense out.
1st down here after the completion. The grab is made by Ivory. Gets about 9 on the play.
The Jets have been awesome today on 1st down. That time it's a nice play design. They throw the football, it picks up solid yards. 2nd and short. Boy, that's what every offense likes to be in.
2nd and short, and Ivory is taking the handoff. And they advance the ball onto the other side of the field.
The Jets are really a true football team. Their defense, we know it's good. They don't want to just rely on it. The offense, nice job picking up that 1st down, eat the clock up, keep the pace of the game on your side. Small lead here in the 2nd half. That was a good job.
It's Marshall. Marshall's tackled down at the 36.
A lot of times you look at the drag route and you think that's the safety valve. You know what? It is. The quarterback is always taught to look down the field. If there's nobody open, throw it to the drag route coming across the field. That time they did it, it was just short of getting the first down.
He's averaging 5 yards per carry on the day.